Sign up now at elevate.miami.edu for my course, Organized Rhyme.
Looking at the word legacy, while involving some wordplay, I'll use the first syllable to build upon. We'll use the first syllable, leg. For the second syllable, we'll use an. And for the third syllable, we'll use the word knee. So now we have leg and knee. Can we use it in context with legacy? Let's just see.
Wordsworth Productions with a S.com for all merch. I got 2 books available right now. Words Are Worth Volume 1, and I also have a children's book called Socks. Age range from 12 to 15, so it's kind of like the middle school and high school age range, but adults can read it as well.
Look glaring. Old boy, it's old boy. Santa, all I need is a hammer from you, but no toy. My eyes slit, they know it's no joke, so clone of Joe Coy. But still it's stir-fried, you choy, but told them no soy. This one's for Aunt Nicole Joyce. Pulled up in a Rolls Royce, bumping Rolls Royce. Father knows best, you rhyme with pinch nose voice. I wish these niggas' clothes choice wasn't so moist. Radiant pig, Templeton, simpleton, shrink when I speak, they won't mention him. Showed up minus partner sipping Goldschlager. You gotta pass beats to go farther, don't bother.
Yeah, these niggas caught win, they don't have no wins. Probably get them on wins, but they won't no win. We ain't scared, we fit, we don't have no friends. I'm putting niggas in a hammerlock, they have no chance. I swing the same sword from Camelot. I hope y'all dance, so you won't have no legs, nigga. Extremities replaced with pegs, niggas.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What Words Are Worth. And today I got a phenomenal guest, Midaz The Beast. He's that type of artist, that rapper that if he rhymes first, you got to make sure that your verse is straight. You're going to hear his verse and probably go home and come back to the studio. He's done joints with Planet Asia, Tzarism, Junior Ali, Nico Is, Talib Kweli, Punchline, AL. We got a song together. This guy is one of the most phenomenal writers that I've heard throughout the years, and anything he gets on, he makes sure he's gonna kill it. He also has a dope live show. Live show is dope too. So I wanted to make sure that he came on here to show, share some of his techniques with writing and how he puts it all together. Share some secrets with y'all and make y'all better rappers, writers, singers, whatever you do out there. So welcome to the stage, Midaz. Oh, he also works with Shark. Can't forget that. Midaz.
Yeah. Big shout out to Shark, man. That's my brother.
Yeah, man. I was going to do the intro later, but I said, let me knock it out.
Yeah, that's love. Nah, I appreciate it, bro. You making me, you know what I mean? Like,
man, I think I forgot some stuff, but
that's all good. It's all good. Yeah, that's all accurate though. Everything, you know what I mean, is accurate. You know what I mean?
I like to always talk about like I said, when I hear people and people that I interview, like what's my taste of when I heard them and so on and so forth. So like we met playing NBA 2K. So
yeah. On that energy. Yep. That's also how I met. That's how I met Acrobatic. That's how I met a ton of heads back then. But yeah, there was 2K energy.
And NBA 2K. And then when I first started hearing you rap on things, man, I was just like, this guy is like relentless. That's how I describe you. Relentless is very like compact. It's compact and impactful. So it has both at the same time. So when you say that first rhyme and the rhyme that comes after it, it's visual, it's vivid, it's detailed, but the impact of it and the flow. I was listening to you rap, and then you have this personality with it. You'll be like, you might say something, just be like, oh, and then you insult, and then all of a sudden, like the aggression, you got like waves of aggression and flow, man. So yeah, you're a master of the craft. So I wanted to have you on here, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's big coming from you, because I came up on the Lyricist Lounge show. Like I used to watch the Lyricist Lounge show with my uncle, and my uncle was like, yeah, you see what they doing, right? Because I was trying to rap, you know what I mean? Like y'all was already, I was still on the, trying to be down energy, you know what I mean? He like, you see what they doing, right? And da. So there was a lot of techniques and stuff that I picked up watching y'all do y'all thing. Like I was a big, I grew up on Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep and all that type of stuff. But then you know, then I'm seeing the more indie scene that came a little bit after that, right? And I'm peeping how y'all doing things, and yeah, big influence. So that's
Thanks,
huge,
man.
back and forth.
Well, we'll get started with it, but also to say, you know, for us, for people such as myself to stay sharp, we got to hear people like you, you know. So where'd you get your name from? What's the origin of Midaz the Beast?
Oh man. All right. So it's name stuff is usually pretty fun. I don't think mine is as fun. I never found a name that I really was like, yeah, that's it. Like sometimes I'll hear rappers come out and I'll be like, damn man, how I think of that first? You know what I'm saying? Like that name. My first rap name was the Golden Child. And it was Golden Child. And then I, you know, in my being naive, I didn't realize, you know, like there's like 1,000 rappers called the Golden Child, you know what I'm saying? And you know, they called Nas the Golden Child and like all kind of stuff. So once I realized I needed to change my name from the Golden Child, I was screwed because all my raps had gold references in them. So I was like, all right, so what's another name I could do where I could still be freaking the gold references that I was freaking at the time? And then that's when I came up with Midaz. And I was just like, and I had a couple rounds where like I had said Midaz and stuff just on the reference tip. You know what I'm saying? So then it was just like, all right, then I'll just be Midaz. So, you know, for the first part of my journey in this hip hop, my name was just Midaz. There wasn't no Beast. It was just Midaz. If you go back to some of the earlier stuff that I put out, it's just Midaz. There's no Beast. It's Midaz or Midaz of Blackout, because I was in Blackout when I make mad beats back in the day. So yeah, I was that for a while. But then what happened was this kid hit me up. Like there's others, but I was the first person to have the name Midaz on with a Z on Twitter and, you know, like all the different socials and stuff when they were coming around. And this kid hit me up like, yo, that's my name. I'm gonna sue you. And I'm like, word? Like, and he does like house music. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yo, that's my name. I'll sue you, whatever. And then I was just like, all right, I need to make my name a little bit more unique. And I was just like, what can I add to it? Like, I'm not gonna change it, but what can I add to it? And you know, cats used to call me Blade. Cats used to call me Beast, just on some like, yo, you be beasting, you be going crazy, you be beasting. So that's where the Beast came from. So it just became Midaz the Beast. I always tell people Midaz the Beast is the original Benny the Butcher. Because it was Benny the Butcher. I was Midaz the Beast with that long name, you know what I'm saying? Setup. But yeah, that's where the Beast came from. So it's just, you know, just the, you know, to write to everything I can touch turns to gold with the pen and, you know, just be beasting.
So you talk about writing. So are you writing paper? You on the paper, you know, paper, pen, your computer, phone, in your head. How you put it together? I've been in the studio with you, so I've seen you go on the phone, but I don't know if that's primary mode.
Yeah, it's not the primary mode. The primary mode is the computer.
Okay.
I don't write a lot on the move. I generally write in here in my lab. You know what I'm saying? If I'm working on something. Lately, I'll keep it a stack. Lately, I have been writing more like if I'm in the car, like I'll start having ideas and, you know, I'll memorize a couple lines, and then when I get to a stop, maybe put those lines down on the phone or something like that. But generally speaking, I write in the lab. I started writing. I was early on the computer stuff though. Like I started writing on the computer in like 04 type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I got rid of. I had lost a rhyme book. I had a rhyme book that had like and I lost it. And it was devastating. You know what I'm saying? It was like all my life's work at the time. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll never, like, I considered quitting rapping. I was like, yo, it's over. Like, I lost all my raps. Like, it's a done deal. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I'll never do this again. And I decided to type my rhymes from then because I'm like, I gotta save these things better than just this book, because anything can happen to this book. So yeah, I started writing on the computer from back in like all the way back to like '04. I started doing it that way, writing in Google Documents and all that.
Yeah. So then you said you write in the studio. I mean, well, you write out in your home studio, but do you like you prefer writing at home, or if you have to venture out to somebody else's studio, what do you prefer?
Okay, so two thought processes to that. One, I'm not even in hip hop mode until I come in the lab. So if I don't walk through that door, I'm typically not even in rap mode. Like that's not even, but it's crazy. I walk in here and it's like a switch. You know what I mean? I walk in here and I'm immediately like, all right, let's go. And so I prefer to write in here. Like my juices start to flow and everything. Now, do I prefer to write here, or what does it look like when I'm out, or like in a studio, somebody else's studio or whatever? I prefer to write here, and the reason I prefer to write here is I prefer to record myself.
Okay.
So if I can, and I generally record it right when I write it. So because I prefer to record here, I prefer to write here.
Okay. So like you would prefer to like email a verse in as opposed to like recording in the studio
All day.
Somebody and
All day. All day.
How long you been recording yourself? You done all your albums like that? Or like how long you been doing that?
Yeah, every album that's come out for me came out from my computer. As far as my vocals are concerned, I really haven't put anything out that I recorded elsewhere. So pretty much everything, me and Planet Asia album that just came out, we did it here. Every project pretty much happened here. And I think where that started, I started recording myself. Shout out emcee Beats. He's the one who kind of taught me how to do it. But I started recording myself. He was the primary person recording me back in the day, back in the 05, 06, 07 era. And somewhere in that space, he ended up moving to New York, going up top. And I was in Orlando and I needed to record, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, all right, well, so he taught me how to do it. And once I got comfortable doing it, then I prefer to do it, because then you could work at your own pace. You can,
anytime
the way that I like to, and this is as my techniques have gotten better, but like the way that I record, like I like to record. I record sitting down. I the way that I punch in, you know what I'm saying? Like I just like to handle all that myself versus dealing with a whole bunch, because everybody records different, and it could be annoying when you go to different studios and like just the techniques of how they record are all over the place. So I just prefer to do it.
I do the same though with the sitting down. I sit here. The first person I ever saw sitting down, let me tell you, because I was like,
it's crazy when you first see it.
Stand-up booth, right?
Yeah.
First person I saw sitting down in the studio was Joe Pesci.
Word.
Yeah, he had.
What, you doing voiceovers?
Nah, he had got a record deal with Columbia Records because he was friends with Tommy Mottola. So me and Punch, we actually wound up ghostwriting a song for him called Wise Guy and got a music video for it and everything. So we wrote that. We wrote it with him, and it was cool. Like we was with him for like 2 days. 2 days with Joe Pesci hanging out. And I'm like, all right, he going in the booth, and then the chair is next to the engineer with the mic there. I was like,
what year is this?
Man, this gotta be like, this is probably like, I don't know, probably like early 2000s, late 90s or something like that.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's called Wise Guy. I got the video here somewhere. He had a video and all that, which is cool. And luckily at that time, the song didn't make it wasn't a big deal, but luckily at that time I knew about publishing, so we got splits on all that too.
Dope.
But I saw him do that first. Then the next person I saw do it was Nas, because Trackmasters was doing Joe Pesci, and they also did Nas album. So that's the next person I see doing it. Nas sitting next to the engineer with his seat saying the rhyme. And I was like, okay, so you could do it like this. You know what I'm saying? Because before, we kind of came up with, go in there,
Yeah, you go in the booth.
super silent, nobody in the, chill,
That's right.
all of that.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing dudes that sit next to the engineer and mad relaxed, like the grind flow and the grind go. I was like,
yo, like, what is this? Yeah.
Dudes are doing in the room. And you know what's so wild about it? I wonder if it got started more like that too because of the caliber of people they are. You don't want to tell them.
You don't want to tell them nothing. Yeah.
Yo, you got to go in the studio and do that.
Nah, you do. Nah. You got him here? Let him do what he do. Let him do. You know how it started for me. I actually never saw nobody sit down and record. I'm gonna tell you where it started is because I was recording myself.
Yeah.
So this isn't the same room as it always was, and it's not the same setup. But just to give an example, I might be here writing, but then let's say the booth is over there, right? So like if I was gonna record myself, I would have to like hit record and get up and run over to the joint. And that just became too much work. I was just like, yo, and then and then I realized too, that was one part of it, but then I realized too that I tend to yell when I'm standing.
Oh, okay.
Right. So like I started realizing that the performance for the vocals wouldn't be how I did it when I was sitting here rapping it.
Wow. Okay.
And I was just like, man, I want it to sound like when I rapped it back to myself sitting at the computer versus how it ended up sounding when I stood over there and recorded it. You know what I'm saying? And because I would stand up, and I don't know, maybe the standing up just makes you more like aggressive, more hype. And I really, like, all right, so you remember like young Raekwon. Raekwon's my favorite rapper of all time. Young Raekwon had the hype flow. Okay, right? Yeah. But ever since like the mid 2000s, he's been on some mob boss, like the flow is slower and more controlled. And he the same thing happened with Prodigy. The same thing happened with a lot of those rappers where they used to rap hyper and then it came down and they rap more, like in their speaking voice. Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get closer to this voice, you know what I'm saying? Then the rah, rah, rah voice, you know what I'm saying? And sitting down helps me achieve that a little bit.
I remember before we got to that phase of sitting down, I remember what people used to do, man. Like go to the studio. I remember dudes was trying to they used to have this keyboard that you can take all the way into the booth with you and then hit click. You hit the button and you see the screen through your glass.
Yo.
That was one of the things cats used to have to do with that situation. It was just like trying to record themselves and click. And then they had made a whole module for that. Like that like that. And then another thing dudes used to start doing would be, yo, I'm just gonna put another monitor in here.
So yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so that way, still could close the door, the wire, right. The keyboard is still out. But now I'm kind of like record myself. So I'm glad we ain't at that no more.
I'm glad we came up. Yo, I used to try to find, before I settled on doing it this way, I was looking for I was trying to set up an iPad in the booth and, just trying to do all types of stuff and like trying to get Pro Tools on the iPad and like just doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it work.
So how long does it take for you to write a verse, man? Like,
oh man, I am
a song, verse or song.
All right, so I'm a notorious quick writer. Okay. I think anybody that could tell you about me will tell you that I write pretty quickly. And it's and that goes for a verse or a song. Once I get, it's a stream of consciousness, so like once I get the ball rolling, I'm off to the races. You know what I'm saying? And now I don't know if you factor in the time it takes me to get the ball rolling. I don't know. Maybe it does take a little bit. Like if you got to think about what you're going to do. But once I get going, I'm gone. And I think a big part of that is something I learned a lot younger was I don't really second guess my writing. I remember reading something about GZA. What they were saying, or maybe it was an interview with GZA, and he was saying that he takes a long time to write. like months sometimes, and then he's edited, there's an editing process, and you go back, and I'm just like, I remember reading that being like, I could never, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could never. Like, to me, when I write, it's a stream of consciousness. And I'm not saying that I don't ever like have a certain song that, like, all right, we're writing about this topic and I want to nail this topic and whatever, but for the most part, it's trusting that, like, I told my man the other day, because he was like, yo, how do you write? I'm like, I trust at this point in my writing career, I trust that I'm not gonna write bad raps. Like, every rap is gonna be fire. I know this already. So I don't second guess it. I write it. And that doesn't mean that it's always the one for that song, but it's always a good rap. You know what I'm saying? So I just write it. And if it doesn't fit, I'll write a whole new one. So, put that over there. Maybe it'll be for something else.
What would you say, like, as far as what is it, like an hour for a verse? Is it for a song, 2 hours?
All right, let's say,
I know it depends on the situation too, because that's another thing I like to tell people about. Like, a lot of writing is very situational.
Yes, absolutely.
So, like, a typical verse for you is what?
Yeah, if it's a typical song for me, right? Like, my typical song structure is going to be somewhere between, it's going to usually be around 2 verses and a hook.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like two 16s, two 24s or something like that, and a hook. That whole thing, if I'm doing all of that, that whole thing might take me 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's great. So now you and Nico are the fastest writers I know.
Yeah.
Y'all two, man, 45 for 2.
Yeah, but you know what's crazier about that with me, because I'm than Nico, is that Nico is an amazing freestyler. Right. I used to be an amazing freestyler, but I'm not anymore. Like, I'm terrible at freestyling in 2024. So, like, I feel I tell Nico this all the time. Like, I feel like Nico be having Nico got raps in his head. Like,
he writes mad fast.
But he got raps in his head already. I don't have no raps in my head already. I'm starting from dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is a truly blank page when I pick it up, because I don't come in with any predetermined thought at all. Like, because I couldn't have one. My freestyle is not, to that space where, like, I got like lines in my head all day, you know what I'm saying, or whatever like that. So yeah, I'm coming from scratch.
You write so, like, it's compact, man. Like, you mic gripping, night slipping, right? So it's like so many rhymes. It's we talking about, look, if I say mic gripping, night slipping, that's only like probably half the first bar, and you're still probably, that means you're doing like probably like
a lot of words,
8 rhymes in 2 bars.
Yeah, for sure.
And it makes sense. It's graphic and detailed in such a short time. So how do you decide, though? Like, I know you say, like, at this point you trust what you're writing, but, like, what are you going back at all? Like, yo, that I can come up with something better to rhyme with that at all?
Yeah. Okay. So, like, there could be some editing. There's live editing, right? Okay. There's just not a lot of post editing, right? Like, the only post editing that I do is, like, if I realize I use that, I feel like I used that word in a rhyme recently, another one, or because, and I know like, I'll write a verse, and, like, there's just gonna be certain things that's just floating around in your head that you might, by hook or by crook, these end up on 3 raps out of the last 10 raps that you write. You know what I'm saying? Like, just a certain idea or a certain whatever. So, like, I'll go back and edit when I catch myself doing any of that. But most of my editing would be done live. So, like, let's say I'm writing a verse, I'm getting, let's say I get 8 bars into the verse. Mm-hmm. No, let's say I get 16. Like, I get close to the 16, right? I'm getting to the 16. And then this next line, I want to say this word, but I already used that word, like, way back there. like maybe 4 bars earlier. So I might go back because I have to decide which line needs the word the most. And then,
yo, I'm glad you said that. I'm thinking about writing about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's a serious situation right
It's
there.
real. It's real.
Very real situation.
You only, I was telling somebody like it's not like I sit around and read books all day. So like I only have a finite amount of words in my head. You know what I'm saying? At any given time. So like a big editing process for me, like I really try hard to vary up the words and like not even just the angles and the schemes, but literally the words. Like I want to use different words. I want to use different words. I don't want to use words I used over here or lines I used over here. But even in the same rap, like whatever the word might be, if the word is going to be, I don't know, whatever the word is going to be, if I already used it earlier, I'm like, I can't, even if it works in a different metaphor, like I don't want to use it twice. So let me go back. Let me see. And a lot of times what I'll end up doing is going back and changing the first one to make the second one work.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's an editing that I do pretty often.
Yeah. I may do that too. Like I might say, all right, it said flow here or blow or whatever. I'm like, you know what? I can go back and make this line, change the ending of that line.
That's right.
And it still makes sense.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's because we've already wrote that part of the rap, and everything that part of the rap can do now.
Yeah,
like, I know this. I still don't know what this could do. You know what I'm saying? But like this, I can manipulate, change it, flip it now because I already know how it connects to everything else.
You know what gives me a lot of comfort when writing though? It's like I go like this. Like my mindset is, what would Midaz think of? What would Nika Wiz think of? What would Kweli? What would Punch? What would AL? Coogee rap? That's how I think of. I try to think of a rhyme that they may think of to be that. So I'm competing to think of how others people think.
I like that.
I learned that in college. I read a book. I think something about a guy named Wallace or something. I found a book online one day because this book changed my life. I was sitting in my dorm and in the lounge and just like sitting there one day, and I was in a creative writing class, and I wasn't reading no books. I was in college, but I ain't
yeah.
I go to school. That's the only book I read, and the one thing he said is, in order to be the best writer you can be, you have to be able to duplicate everybody's style. So that helps me a lot when I'm like trying to think of a rhyme word. I can just kind of delve into another artist's mindset in a way, and it helps me think of mad other rhymes.
So let me tell you about that. That's a really interesting thing that you just said. So it's really important to me to understand how this is in the same logic you just said. It's really important for me to understand what other rappers' techniques are. Like I need to understand. So like, for instance,
that's why I'm doing this show.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
For sure. So like if I know that I'm doing a song with whoever, if I'm doing a song with Nas, right? Like I know what Nas is gonna do. So I'm not gonna be. So people always ask me like, "Are you scared to get on a song with this person or that person?" I'm like, I know what he gonna do. So nah, you know what I'm saying? Like and I feel like one of my advantages as a writer and a rapper is that my style doesn't have one way to be done. So I can do a bunch of different things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is a certain thing I do more often than not, but I can do 7, 8, 9 things. You know what I'm saying? So like I can dance over here, I can dance over here, I can dance over here, but most rappers can only dance one way. And so I know how you're gonna dance all the time. Bet. watch what I'm gonna do over here. You know what I'm saying? And like that's definitely a thing that that I try to, I was doing I did a song with terminology and Planet Asia. And Asia was we were here, and me and Term was in here writing, and Asia was outside. And Term started writing, and I never did no songs with Term, but at the time, actually I did have a song with Term before that, but I heard what Term was doing. You know how when you write, you just hear what Muggs is doing in the back. So I'm like, okay. I'm doing what I'm doing. And then Term said, let me hear what you got. So, and you know how that is. I'm like, I kind of don't want to show you what I got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let me hear what you got. Like, all right. So we kind of did the exchange right quick. And then Term was like, we already know what Asia going to do. And it was like, yeah, we do. And then Asia walked in and did just that. The thing about it is he do it so phenomenally that it don't matter that you know what he's going to do. He's going to do it at the top level that it could possibly be done at.
Yo, you're saying something. I just was watching videos of people, I think it was Gil's Arena, and it was like, had these clips about how do you stop Kobe? And it was like, yo, there is no watching tape for Kobe. You know?
Right.
So that's what it is. Like with Asia, there's no, Asia going, yes, he's coming in with this. He's just going to do what he does.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Like it's going to be ridiculous.
It's going to be ridiculous. So everybody, that's what it's like. It's like there's no game tapes for Kobe, and a lot of artists are Kobe's. That's how I look at a lot. I look at you as a Kobe. I look at Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. I look at a lot of us like that. And you just know when that person gets on the track, you just know, like, I know what they coming with. I'm sure this will be fine.
This will work, right? And to what you're saying, my biggest thing is I just can't ever feel like I got murdered on some shit. Like I can't be murdered on nothing. Like I just can't. That cannot be the outcome of Midas is on the song. Like I got a reputation. I can't get murdered on nothing, right? So like my big thing, I always feel good about. And this is I'll tell you this, it's a little conflict with creating for me, because I always feel good about my song instincts. I feel very confident in my instincts with creating songs. What throws my instincts to the left, though, is when I'm in a collaborative environment, right? Then now I'm fighting my instincts with what the song is going to be.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I actually had that question. Yeah, I got that question. Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because I've collaborated with you numerous times, and for me, collaborating with you, I'm always wanting to make sure my levels are high because I respect your pen game so much. So what's that like? What's your thought process, like you were saying, when it's time to collaborate?
Well, if I'm collabing, it's a different mindset than if I'm rapping by myself. And I don't know if that's how everybody looks at it. That's how I look at it for sure. So I'll give you an example. Me and when me and Asia was working on an album, we did a song with Tri-State. Tri-State's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So, but here was the thing. The song produced by Sharp was a song that this particular song was a song I already had. It wasn't a new creation. It was a song that I had that we were in the 9th inning and we were looking to fill out the album. And I was like, hey, I got this joint. I never did nothing with it.
Right.
It's got space for people. Let's bring in State. Let's bring in Asian. Right. The thing is, when State did his verse first, I didn't write it for a collaboration. I wrote it as a Midas song.
Right.
So once Tri-State sent his verse, I didn't feel like my verse fit anymore.
Yeah, that can happen.
And some people look at that like, you rewrote your verse. So it's like, nah, bro. Like when I write for myself, I'm writing different kinds of songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then
the emotion you probably put into that was
it's a different
flow. It's a different vibe.
And I didn't want, and of course, similar to what you said, like State's gonna go, all right, this is a joint with Midas. I'm gonna come in here and body bag. Well, I wasn't body bagging initially. I was just, I was just dancing.
You might have been rhyming about just life.
Yeah.
yo, world challenge and blah, 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 blah. And then now he come on and it's like the energy change and you like, yeah, this, I can't come with this. My energy.
No, I gotta, yeah, I had to switch it up. So like, just so when I collab, I like to make sure what I will say is a lot easier to collab when, you know, so me and Superstition talk all the time about the fact that we call it the secret society of super MCs, right? So like, we all know each other, right? Like, I know Words, I know Super, I know State, I know Asia. Like, we know who the guys are that get real stupid with the pen, and like, there's a healthy respect for like all of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows. If I'm doing a song with one of those guys, I already know what level I need to come on and what energy I need to bring to the record, because I know y'all are gonna show up top notch every time with everything that y'all do. But when it's an unknown scenario, I'm working with somebody I've never worked with before, I don't know. I just try to make sure that I fit the music correctly, you know, more than anything.
See, you hit on something I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for people that's out there listening to us talk about this, I think there needs to be also a distinction and understanding of not always the bars is going to be better than the person rapping.
That's right.
That flow and cadence alone coming in, you could be saying mumbo jumbo. If you come in with that flow and that cadence, that could wipe everybody off the map. So
everybody.
Be mindful of getting that flow and cadence first, I think, is important when you start writing that. And even you might start writing a couple bars, but think of maybe changing up, because I think a lot of times I learned that later on, like just watching, because we came up in a bar heavy era. Like, you know, you ain't rhyming like this. Then
right.
But then it took me years and like time to kind of start learning, like, yo, it ain't about how bar heavy it is. It's how do you ride in that beat?
How do you ride it? Yeah.
Like how you on that beat, right? So that's what I learned too. So for those that's writers, you know, it ain't really always about that, how ill you are with the bars. If you come in and you're flowing and kind of maybe just on the track, it ain't gonna really flow right.
No, 1,000%. You know, my favorite rappers growing up, I had to do a deep dive and like really, because like I pride myself and I'm known as a lyricist. Okay, cool. You know, fine. But my favorite rappers growing up were more style guys.
Yeah.
And I had to do the knowledge on myself and be like, so I don't do a lot of what I love. I'm like, I need to come closer to what I love versus so like that. My style went through an evolution where I started really saying, okay, I got a cool voice. I need to use my voice more. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know what? Like maybe I need to rhyme on slower beats because the faster the beat, then the higher the pitch that I'm rapping at. And I didn't really like the pitch I was rapping at. Well, I'm gonna rap at that pitch all the time if the beat is a certain BPM. So like for my you know, to the thing you just put up for my picking process, like I started looking for beats that I thought fit my voice better. People always ask me about like, one of the jokes is Midas don't like drums. That's not true. Midas loves drums. I love drums. And
I know you, right? So I got that in here. You know, I be having everything in here. People be saying like, yo, because I am y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's real. It's real.
I know y'all because I listen to y'all. So when I'm having this show with the people that come on here, I be studying y'all. I know y'all stuff, so I'm excited when you said the drum thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, elaborate on this.
Nah, well, so here's the deal, right? Like, first of all, I'm a soulful kid. Like, I love, like, I always tell people I'm probably more of a producer than I am a rapper, except I don't know how to use the machines. Right? So like all my projects, like I produce those records. I put like as far as the vision of those records, how they're put together, the sequencing, you know, all the idea, you know, that's all that stuff come from me as far as lot of the samples, like all of that. Like I go digging for all the samples. I got all the records in here. Like that's really a thing that I pride myself on doing. But I'll hear a loop, and this started way back. I would hear a loop, or I would hear a sample, and I'd be like, that shit is fire. And then I would give the sample to somebody like, yo, this sample's crazy. And then the beat that they would bring me back would not be what I envisioned it to be when I gave it to you, you know, like, and what it is that producers want to produce, beat makers want to beat make, right? Like they want to make the beat. They need to feel like they made the beat, right? So like, I just want you to make the sample sound. I want you to loop it up. I want it just like this, but like the sound better than I can make it sound, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing. But they would take it, fucking change the BPM on it. Now it got, you know, it got all this extra shit going on, and it would take me out of the zone that the sample put me in when I heard it, right? So like when I did my first loops project, that was from that energy of like, bro, I just want to rap on this part, like this part. Like I don't want nobody to touch it. I don't want nobody to do nothing to it. I just want to rap on this, right? But I'm gonna give you some other stuff on the loop stuff, because I had to.
When did you start the loop series?
The first loops project was 2000. I started working on it in 2010, and I put it out in 2011, if I remember correctly. So it was way back in that era. But I got joints over straight loops going all the way back to probably like 04 type energy. But once I started to really like I tell people all the time, I feel like I didn't even learn how to rap. And I've been rapping since I was 11. I'm 39. I feel like I didn't even learn how to like really rap until I was like 30, 31, 32. Like it was like a code, like a code switched in my head. And I was like, you know, like I saw the Matrix for the first time. Like, yo, I understand this in a whole different way. And rhyming over the loops and the stuff with no drums. See, for some people, I think it's just it's a flavor thing, and that definitely has a piece of it, right? But for me, it's a lot deeper than that. So, for instance, I always say dudes want to rap like Rock Marcy, right? They want the Rock Marcy flavor, but they're not as good rappers as Rock Marcy. So, like, yeah, you could rap over the same type of stuff that Rock raps on, but Rock can rap. You know what I'm saying? Like that dude.
Ever since the UN, you know, there's that, and then also when he rapped on the Pete Rock album, I mean, like he's been rapping. He's been rapping.
Like he understands wordplay at a god level, to where now when you're sitting on these loops, not everybody can sit on them loops because they need the drums to guide what they do. Like when you're rapping on something that don't got no drums, you are now in the wilderness, and you gotta survive in a different way. If you're not a top tier lyricist and able to put words together on a god level, then a lot of times you're not on beat. You know, you're falling all off of, because there's a beat, there's a metronome, even when the drum doesn't tell you, it's there. And like for me, like I'll catch, all right, you know what, I'm gonna rhyme on the flutes, or I'm gonna rhyme on the bass line, or I'm gonna rhyme on the, you know, whatever sound in there I want to rhyme on. But I've got good timing and I can catch that stuff. But then also, again, taking into consideration what how my voice is, like I got this husky voice. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times me and drums will fight and clash, you know, especially on stage. Like put aside in songs, because that could be engineered and mixed, you know, well enough or whatever. But on stage, you know, I'm sitting here like, bro, I'm putting together all these crazy rhymes, and then I'm going on stage and dudes ain't even hearing the bars like that. You know, like, so it changed my stage show. I started to pick joints out of my catalog that were easier for me to rap and the crowd to understand the words that I was saying, you know? So even just from a technical standpoint, rapping on those types of things was a way for me to make sure that my message got across, that the words, that the song hit you and you were able to understand what was being said. Because a lot of times too, with a crazy beat, you know, it's a fight between the rapper and the producer, you know? And I didn't want the fight no more. I want the song to be dope. I want to get in the car and this song is dope. Let's vibe out to this song. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't love drums and stuff. I mean, my new album was with Czar. Czar does it's the most drums ever on the album, you know. As you know how Tzarism gets down, it's the most drums ever. But what I always tell people about, if you're gonna send me something with drums or without drums, if you're gonna send it with drums, please make it not the same loops I've been rapping on for 25 years. That'd be nice, because I don't get no new ideas to the same drum loops, you know. I've been rapping to them drum loops my whole life. And then if it's gonna be something that is drumless, not every drumless joint is flavorful and fly either. You know what I'm saying? So like, it just makes sure that the stuff got the right energy to it, and that it sounds like something that you would want to get in your car and drive to. If you don't want to drive to it, then it's not something I should be rapping on. It's how I look at it.
So like, when you talk about the car and listening to stuff, what's your atmosphere writing? Are you are you nighttime, daytime?
Ooh.
What's that like? I know me, I'm pretty much, I can do whatever is kind of called for, but I would prefer nothing going on. You know what I'm saying? Kind of dim. What's your setting?
I'm in the same, so I'll take it one step further. This is gonna sound real crazy. Most of the time, I'll turn the beat down or almost all the way off. So let the beat run, feel it, hear it. Now, when I actually start writing to it, more often than not, I'll turn it really low.
Yo, it's funny. Somebody I interviewed yesterday said the same thing. Yo, in my head, I've been like, yo, I was talking to Big Pooh.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, yo, that beat, at some point, I got to turn it off. I can't listen to it going on.
Yeah.
So I got what you said.
Like,
so
you'll get it in your head. You'll get the beat in your head. It's there. I know what it is, you know. And because the thing is, when the beat is loud, boom, and I can write in that atmosphere too, like, you know, whatever. But I don't prefer it because it sometimes it clashes with my thoughts. You know, like when it's quiet, I can just I can focus on what I'm trying to say and what's coming into my head and everything like that. So the atmosphere, I think, is, you know, I'll have the beat low. And it's either gonna be late at night or right when I wake up in the morning. It's one of those two. Like sometimes I wake up with a rap. Like I wake up like I might have had rhymes in my sleep type of scenario. Cause that happens a lot too. Like I'll be dreaming rapping, you know, and then I'll wake up with like 8 bars. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of already.
Somebody else said that they do that too. They wake up with it. It made me think about I'm a Seinfeld fan. It made me think about this episode when Jerry Seinfeld wakes up and he just writes something and he laughs at it, and then he wake up in the morning, he don't know what the heck he wrote. You know what I'm saying? He looking at it look crazy. He's like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you wake up with those thoughts and you ready to go and write. I mean, the earliest I'll come in the studio is probably like, I'll come in here probably like, might be like 10.
Okay.
9 to 10.
Okay.
Depending on what my day got going on. So, you know, want to get it done before the day kind of gets started.
Right.
I'll come in at like 9 to 10 and then be like, all right, something that's coming on TV that I might want to catch at a certain time, or it's happening outside. But yeah,
I like writing when I'm almost, this is gonna sound crazy too. I like writing when I don't want to write. Like it almost adds, so like even in my personal life and my professional life, like I would consider myself a primetime player. I'm a put the pressure on me, and it's gonna come out crazy when I got pressure, right? So like one of the ways to create pressure when there's none is like if I'm really tired, or you know, maybe I'm not really in the mood to write, but it's not like, I don't want to use the word like I force it, but like if I'm like, man, let me just do this now. You know,
Right.
a lot of times those raps end up the craziest because, you know, I also say this, like, to me, writing has always been an out of body experience. So I know there's science to it and whatever, but it's like, there's all this science to it, but then at the same time, there's no science to it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just this like, bro, and I know for you with the crazy way that you rap, how many times do you pull up a verse or listen to a feature or something that you did and you're just like, who the fuck wrote this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where did this even come from? Like, yo, there's raps that I got. I've had kids run up on me at shows and stuff and be like, yo, this verse is my favorite. You said that, and that's crazy because that means this. And I was just like, that's what that means? Like,
yo, how often do you, here's the crazy thing. All these verses you doing, features, album, song. How often somebody come up to you or you hear something you don't remember? I don't remember all these rhymes.
All the time, bro.
I can't remember all these rhymes, yo.
All the time.
I don't make it a point to remember every rhyme, which I you know what I'm saying? But like if I gotta do a show, of course, but like sometimes, you know, you listen back to a verse for a feature and something, and you be like, yo, that verse is kind of but you know, is the problem, Midas? We do these features, the stuff, joints don't be coming out for like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. But to add to it, right? Because I was talking to somebody the other day, because I'm very, in this time of my life, it's really hard for me to remember raps. It's really bad. Like it's really hard. But I was explaining to somebody the other day, I was like, I know it sounds bad. I know it looks bad, whatever. Like, I can't remember these raps like that. But I was like, let me give you some context. Context A is that I first of all, my job, my day job, I think for work.
Right.
You know, like my brain is full of work thoughts all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of job that I have. So I don't have a lot of space for random raps to be sitting in my head that I don't need to know for whatever reason. Right. So like, there's that. Secondly, I don't listen to my songs all that much. It's like set it and forget it. You know, like I record it and it's like the whole joy of it for me is the process. Once I've done it, I'm on to the next one.
That's kind of how I am too. Once I lay down, I'm kind of like, it's done. What's the next verse I got?
What's the next one? Like, I don't really dwell on them in that way. So I don't listen to them enough to learn them, you know, and to your point, I don't listen to them enough to even recognize them sometimes. I'll be like, I wrote that? Like, man, that's crazy, you know? So
it just takes so long for a verse to come out.
That too.
I mean, what's dope though, sometimes that something might take a while to come out, and then you hear it and you be like, yeah, that verse still fire. Even though it takes a while, you know, some time to come out, at least you can still like hold up to the fact.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
So what's your studio setup? Oh well, let me get the studio setup. What's your studio setup like? How do you record?
Yeah, so got the mic right here. I got the Chaotica eyeball joint, you know. Yeah. So if I'm gonna write, I'll set this up. Or if I'm gonna record, I'll set the Chaotica up. You know, the Chaotica comes with a popper stopper on it. But in my experience with the Chaotica, a lot of my P's still come through. So I have a second popper stopper that I'll usually set up.
Yeah, I got the same setup, bro. Look, and I got the joint over there. I got the same thing going on.
Yep. I'll throw the second joint, and you know, I use Pro Tools. I'm a Pro Tools user, and even, you know, that's the studio setup. I think even just when I record, like I was watching Ghostface being interviewed by Torre last night, and he said something that I was like, yo, that's my same technique, because he was saying when he records now, he punches in a lot. And he was like, I punch in a lot more than I did. He was like, because when I was young, it was a lot of pressure to just get the verse out, get the verse, be out, right? And he's like, but now, he said this, and I was like, bro, people don't be understanding, like, because you know how rappers be. So I tell, like, this is why I like recording myself, because like let's say I go to Juniali's house. Everybody over there wants to do one hitter quitter verses. Like, yo, you can't punch in. That's not hip hop, yo. It's not real. And I'm just like, are we trying to make a good song, or are we trying to prove to the hip hop gods that we're legitimate?
Sometimes you will get an engineer or somebody in the studio like, yo, you could do it. You can knock that out.
Yeah, you could do it. I know I can do it. I don't want to do it.
But you don't have to do it.
I don't have to. And I don't want to, because in what Ghostface said last night, that was like validation for me. He was like, there's certain like ways that I wanted to say a word that if I'm saying it in the mix of all of it, I don't get the emphasis where I want the emphasis to be.
Yeah.
So like, because of how your breath plays with writing these raps. My man Sean Kantrowitz asked me the other day, I sent him a joint. He's like, bro, do you breathe on these tracks? And I was just like, well, this lets me know that my technique is really working, because you can't tell where I punched in and where I didn't punch in.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, so that I got kind of that going, so that I can. So like going back to what you were talking about way in the beginning with like, you got a rhyme and then a rhyme inside of, you know,
It's pretty seamless. Your stuff is, your rhymes are pretty seamless.
Yeah, a lot of that is in the recording technique though. Like, I mean, you got to write it obviously, but then you got to record it. You got to say it, you know. And it don't work unless you have a technique that can allow it to work. Because a lot of those raps, bro, if I tried to just rap them straight through, I'm gonna have to take out words. It's just not gonna work, you know.
It'll take time you could do it, but it'll take
do it.
time.
Yeah.
Because when you're rapping, you have to learn those breath control spots. So like when you first say a rhyme, you're just kind of rhyming it, but then once you start learning, you be like, as soon as I get to here, you know what I'm saying? That's what made Pun so dope, is that Pun could say a rhyme. And you hear the breathing, I think, on some of the records too.
Well, no, you'll hear the breathing, but he gets a lot out before.
And he knew right when they get to this line.
Yep.
Breath.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of people nowadays, you know, editors and mixers and all that, they'll just hear your breath, and you know, you can erase that when editing and stuff nowadays.
Right.
So, but yeah, so here's I usually do a top 5, top 3, top something. So I know how big of a Wu-Tang fan you are. See, I knew that before you said it earlier. I'm like,
you see the W back there. I'm working on an album with Fourth Disciple, man. It's a big. It's a bucket. That's a bucket. I just got a text from Fourth just now. It's a bucket list moment for me, because I know
you're looking for that sound.
Oh, bro, like, come on, man. Like, I'm so excited. Like, some of my favorite beats is Fourth Disciple beats, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But so, okay.
Yeah, your top 3 Wu members. No order. Just give me 3. You know that you like. So, 5, whatever you want, but I just said 3 for today.
My favorite rapper of all time is Raekwon. So Raekwon is my favorite rapper. So that's an easy. He's not just my favorite Wu-Tang rapper. He's my favorite rapper. And what's funny about Raekwon being my favorite is he wasn't always. That's a recent, and by recent I would say 2005, 6. Raekwon became my and he's been that pretty much ever since. Yeah. Before that, I had a myriad of different rappers that I was into, but I think I had just started to figure out Raekwon a little bit. Like, wait. I see what he's doing here. Like, this dude is different. You know what I'm saying? And actually, a love of the style of Raekwon is what really brought me and Planet Asia together. You know, I had met him and we got to talking about Raekwon, and you know, that's his favorite rapper. He like, yo, word? Like, yeah, like we used to start it. You know what I'm saying? So Raekwon would be number 1. All right. So if I'm considering like all the music, number 2 might be RZA, shockingly. Okay. Because I was a big RZA rap fan when I was in high school, when I was, you know, in that era. Like, some of the way a certain style of RZA, like the way RZA was rapping on Wu-Tang Forever, the way RZA was rapping on Iron Man, the way RZA was rapping on the second Gravediggers album, like that RZA to me is phenomenal as an MC. You know, there's a lot of different RZAs. he's been a lot of different rappers throughout his time, but like that. 95, 96.
I bought the first single. I was like, oh, we love you. I bought it. I bought all that. I bought Bobby Digital. I mean,
Yep.
RZA's dope.
I think RZA is extremely underrated as an MC, especially when he was at his peak. You know, I listen to the Bill Simmons podcast a lot, and he's always talking about when people are at the peak of their powers. What was the peak era? When were you at the top of the peak of your powers? And I think 90, 95, 96, 97 RZA was the peak of his powers as a lyricist.
Yeah.
And he was doing phenomenal things. So I would say RZA 2, that era RZA 2. And 3 would be somewhere between Meth and Ghost. You know, Ghost could also dance with my Raekwon. Like they can dance in the same, like in the number one area kind of together a little bit. But I really like, and I really bit a lot of my cadences and just learning cadences and things from 97 Meth, 98 Meth, and like Meth would the way Meth would play with his vocal was inspiring. Like he was the first dude that, like, okay, I can identify, like, I got a husky voice, he got a husky voice, you know what I'm saying? But he really has mastery over his voice in a way that I hadn't achieved yet. You know what I'm saying? So like, I really learned a lot about understanding like how to rap from like listening to Method Man. Meth sound like a natural born rapper. I always tell folks like Meth sound like the kind of MC that he couldn't have had no other job. You know what I'm saying?
Meth ushered in a whole new way of hearing a song.
Yeah.
Because he come on the record and the flow and the cadence is totally nothing you ever heard. Nobody ever heard a flow like Method's flow. There's nobody that was rhyming like Method before Method Man.
Right.
His flow, he came out, Method come out tomorrow, was all like that's that. So like it just nobody was rhyming like that. So
do you prefer? Let me ask you a question. This is an interesting one. Do you prefer the way Meth raps today, or the way Meth rapped 96, 97?
I prefer when Meth rhymes on these features, I prefer that Meth for today because he just got a bar. He just bars out heavy.
He bars out.
He just goes crazy. The rhymes are phenomenal.
He's a way better lyricist than he ever was today.
Yeah. He's on point and on par to prove his sustainability, right? I love Meth from back then though, because Meth from back then, reason why I was going to also talk about Ghost, they understood how to make these commercial records, man. And, like, All I Got Is You and, like, Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Those records are, like, etched in stone for hip-hop history. So, for me, that's what takes those guys to
a different plateau.
Yeah, for me, those guys are definitely on a different plateau because, one, Meth came with a whole new flow and way to hear a record. And then for me, Ghost gave you vulnerability of a gangster in a way.
I like that. And I would agree.
And I think that's what set him apart in that whole Wu-Tang thing. You listen to Ghost will tell you, like, yesterday I had no cereal, milk, and you'd be like, oh, word, like, and he's painting the story of it being rough and still making it through. And so that's how I see those. If my first one would be Jizza.
Okay. I mean, what can you say? Yeah.
Liquid Swords, the rhymes on there, like it was like perfect rhymes.
They're literally perfect raps.
They're like perfect raps.
They're perfect raps. Yeah, they're perfect raps. Yep.
The rhyme and then the storytelling of it is just bananas. Like just the storytelling, the rhymes. Like he lived up to the name and the hype of the Jizza with that for me. If I had to go number 2, I would probably have to say it is Ghost on the basis of first of all, what's the album that I love? Supreme Clientele.
Clientele is crazy.
Come on, man. So,
Scientific, My Hand Kiss It, Robotic, Listic, Optimistic. You probably missed it. Watch Me Dolly. I'm like, yo, what? Like,
this is ridiculous. The Supreme Clientele is just near perfect, if not perfect.
Yep.
But that vulnerability.
Yes.
And then number 3, I would probably go meth on the basis of the commercial appeal and showing you to make these type of records, but also because of his work and sustainability of being so ill today and rapping on all the new artists' records.
Yep. And killing those records.
That's a big deal for me though, Mike. It's like I had this conversation the other day. It's a deeper conversation, but just that generation and maybe another generation prior to that, not rhyming on these new dudes' records, man. I don't know why they're not doing it. I don't know if they're not being asked, or one thing I saw that was dope about Buster. Buster said he will call you if you got a fire record.
Oh yeah, Buster get on your shit.
He said he'll call you. That record's crazy. Let me get on that. And I think it'll be dope if some of the older artists do that.
But you know what it is to that point, what you're saying? You could easily tell the MCs that love rapping though. Not everybody that love rap. Yeah. Like I love rap. You love rapping. What I'm saying? Like I love it. Yeah. Like I can tell, Buster loves rapping. Like Meth loves rapping. Raekwon loves rapping.
I think that's the essence of us from the jump, though, right? Like the competitive nature to be I'm the best or the best at what I do now. So today, a lot of times I feel like we're not rhyming, not us, but like artists of some generations aren't going down to help the other people around.
Right. I super agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel some of the artists, maybe a generation above or so on, may even make it harder when you're trying to work with them too. You know what I'm saying? Like
trust me, I know.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just keeping it on it.
Yeah.
Because I like to work with people. If they send me something on business is right, or if you send me something and the beat is fire, I'm just like, I see more value in me rhyming on this joint. So there's value in me just getting on this joint. You know what I'm saying? So that's a deeper discussion though. But
I love rapping, bro, and I love music, right? So like, one thing that was heartbreaking for me as a young MC coming up was when I started to meet people and realized they didn't love rapping like I thought they did. Not like me. I'm like, yo, y'all don't love rap like I love rap. And that sucked. You meeting your heroes, you start to meet heroes and you like, but then you meet somebody. I want to shout out my brother. You meet somebody. I remember when I first met Planet Asia loves rapping, bro. Like that dude loves rapping. And like the pure joy and like elation of him getting to rap is like, that dude wants to rap. He wants to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so when I one of the things that allowed me to become a kindred spirit with him is just like, oh, you like to rap like I like to rap. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, so let's rapping is fun. We doing that for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like yo, I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna hang out for like a week so we could just rap. You know what I'm saying?
I think also too, Mike, it's like maybe some of those people that kind of like ahead of us, I think the business kind of tainted a lot.
1,000.
And then us coming after some of those generations, we understood the business acumen a little bit better. So we're less kind of like probably into that vibe and feeling that way because we didn't deal with some of the things they had to deal with.
Nonsense, yeah.
And we kind of now like we'll rap, but we got a job. Some people,
right.
They weren't trying to do all that, and they weren't feel, and they kind of, I guess, put all the eggs in one basket, and the industry didn't treat them right, contracts and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I do get it. I get it. It just sucks.
Some of it, you know what I'm saying? I think so.
Yeah, it just sucks though, because when you imagine how much you could, and I think about this from even myself, imagine how much you could douse somebody's light when you the elder statesman, and these cats come up to you and they come to talk to you, and you just douse their whole light. Like I've had artists that like I was just like, yo, it's you, like yo, I would love the da 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 da, and and then the energy be just such a douse of your light, bro. And like, if I was a lesser confident artist, like I might have been, you know, doing something else by now. You know what I'm saying? Just from those experiences.
Story. I did one of these episodes for y'all watching. Go back and check out. I got Baca Gravis. I did an interview with him. I actually posted it, and it's like your favorite rapper's engineer. He's worked with mad people, like a lot of our friends, a lot of people, commercial, everything. Here we go. So my latest album, Fragility of Life, he mixed it, got it mastered with his roommate, mastered it, and he sent me some beats on Facebook one day, and I was like, let me check them out. Then I was sitting home, and I said, yo, I like this beat. I sent it back to him. He did an ill mix to it. I was like, yo, you want to mix my album? I was like, yo,
yeah.
check it out. We just talking about that, getting the album mixed, like maybe like weeks later, he go, yo, I met you at a show in Arizona. You came out here and I got the album you signed. My dad told you, you know, my dad called you Wordsworth to come sign this for me, and you signed it for me. And yo, that was a big deal. I still got all the stuff. I got the items here.
That's love.
This is like, he's mad young. Mind you, he's there with his dad, brought him to the show and all that. So if I would have been a jerk, then my album
this whole situation, right?
Mixed. So that was crazy. He was like, yo, I met you in Arizona and now I'm mixing your album.
Yeah, bro. Like I still want to, dudes. I'm you know, I can't freestyle like that no more, but I'm still the dude that'll come outside and rap after the show.
Yeah.
What up? Yo, y'all rhyming? Yo, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll still come throw my pen into those ciphers and things of that nature. Cause like I like rapping, bro. And like I don't know, it does stink, like industry politics and all of whatever's, but I think it's gotten to a space where dudes that came up rapping is too cool to rap now. And it's like, I thought we rapped. I thought that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we rap. I thought, yo, that's very real, man.
Like, when did we become too cool to rap? Like, I thought that's what we was doing. Like, we're not doing that. Nah, it's, you know, it's about this, it's about that. It's like, I thought, you know, I'm trying to rap.
Yeah, everybody's not still as passionate about it like that.
For sure.
It's you know, everybody had their way of life and so on and so forth, man. But yo, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man, and shedding a lot of light to people with all these different answers you gave. You and like, because you know, the crazy thing about doing the show, like I say all the time, I don't know how y'all come up with this stuff. I'm not there with y'all. Y'all not here with me when I'm writing. Sure. All it is an email. You get an email, open it, oh, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? Nobody know how you cooked it up, though.
That's facts. So, that's facts.
That's why I enjoy doing this show, because people get some insight, and there's also people out there that actually relate to how you come up with stuff, or like, man, I never thought about doing it like that.
Right.
So I'm appreciative that you came on the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm blessed to be here, man. You know, you my big bro, so anytime we can sit down and chat about anything, you know, I'm with it. I got to tell you right quick before we dip.
Yeah, we got time.
When it comes to Live from the Blue Note, I just got to tell you. I get asked about that song fairly frequently, and when I get asked about it, that song is interesting to me because when I wrote the verse, going back to what we were talking about earlier, nobody else was on the song.
Right.
It was just me on the song. It was gonna be me and Nico.
I got the version of you, AL, and Nico.
See?
Version.
So it was just me, right? Because me and Nico was in the studio, and I'm gonna call Nico out because Nico was like, you because you know I always got raps. So like I don't always be trying to sit there and write a rap. If I got a verse, I'll just pull out a verse. Like I got a verse. Now I have less of those than I used to, but I got raps. So Nico was like, hey, yo, you gotta write this one on the spot. You can't be pulling out none of the other raps. You got it. And I'm like, are you acting like I can't write this on the spot? Like, I'll write it right now. Like, are you serious? Like, we was doing that. We was having that energy. Yeah, and he was trying to challenge. He's always trying to challenge me for something. But So I wrote my verse. This nigga falls asleep. So I'm like, oh, worse, he's gonna stress me out about writing this rap, and then you gonna go to sleep, right? Whatever. I wrote it, I laid it. Words, I tell you, I didn't hear nothing about this song for like 6 months.
Wow.
I never even heard my version back. As far as I knew, I laid this verse at Junie's house. That's all I know about this song, right? So like maybe 6 months later, I get a text from Nico like, hey, yo, we gonna turn this into some lyricist lounge type shit. I'm getting who did he say he was getting? He said he was getting AL.
Yeah.
No, he said he laid his verse, he's getting AL. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, fire. Mind you, I hadn't heard his verse and I hadn't heard AL's. I was just like, okay, dope. Then then he was like, I'm gonna try to see if we can get Talib on it. And I'm like, all right, yeah, that'll be fire. Like, yeah, that's really dope. You know, I'm excited about that. That's dope. I never did nothing with Talib. Somewhere along the line, the nigga said, and I don't know if it was him or if it was June that said it, but somewhere along the line, somebody said, hey, your Words is jumping on it. I was like, all right, hold on.
Okay.
Can you send me my verse? Like, send me what I did, because I know what you gonna do. Like,
yeah, man.
And that's no disrespect to anybody.
Nah, but you set it off, man. I heard you. Now I remember. I think I got the version of you. Then I got AL, Junie, not Junie. Nico is
yeah.
and I think I had a version with I think everybody on there, and then it was like, yo, lay your verse, and I was
because I think you were like in the final whatever of putting that song together, but
it got moved around. Somebody got moved around. I think it got moved around on purpose. Like I think originally I was after AL.
But you went crazy. That's why.
Yo, I was
nautical coordinates and fortune waters rinse. I was like, yo, come on, fam. What are we doing?
When I heard you set it off, because remember, there's no drums.
There's no drums.
I know you're aware of how to ride a track like that, and the substance has to be there. When there's no drums, man, I'm very in tune to like understanding what has to be put on here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's but
I just want you to know, from your stature as an MC, no disrespect to anybody, when it was mentioned that you were gonna be on the song, that's when I was like, hey man, hold on. Y'all doing too much right now. I was like, yo, y'all doing too much right now, bro. Like, because I started getting jealous, because I'm sitting here going, all these niggas got to hear my verse. I didn't get to hear nobody's verse.
That's a fact. You set it off. I'm telling you, man. Your set off made me make sure that when I come on there, I got to keep the levels up there. Your set off. That's my mindset for real.
Oh man, well that's a fun joint, man. That's a classic right there. So big, and you went crazy at the end of that. I was just like, and of course, my MC brain, I'm like, man, if I could have wrote that again, like it would have been crazier. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just my MC brain. But yeah, I love that joint.
I listen to everybody, and I just be like, you know, just trying to find my way with it and do what I do, you know. So, yo, let everybody know your social media and everything.
Yeah, man.
Even the YouTube, I wasn't even really in tune with the YouTube, so all your social media stuff.
Yeah, so on Twitter it's at Midaz with a Z. On Instagram it's at Midaz The Beast. On YouTube it's at Midaz, I believe. But also the questions hip hop on YouTube, and the questions podcast. We do the Making Nomadic podcast. Me and Sean Kantrowitz, you know, we've had, you know, a lot of spirited conversation on that podcast. We had Tony Baker on there, and you know, my man Mark from Top Shelf Premium, and just all types of people that have come on there. And you know, it's that podcast is an opportunity for us to talk about. It's a thought experiment to condense an album, but really what it is an opportunity to just talk about music and talk about these records and the impact that they had on us, or you know, some of these records, I'm hearing them for the first time. Like there's joints that we did that I didn't grow up on them records. And like, okay, now I'm being forced to hear this album that I never checked. How do I feel about it? What's my takeaway from this? And, you know, talking to people who have been there and they have their emotions tied into these. It's a lot of fun. So, you know, me and Sean got the podcast popping. And then other than that, man, just a lot of music. Yes, sir.
I'm going to be on there, so y'all make sure y'all check that episode.
Yes, sir. Coming soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I love it. I'm gonna warn you, dudes always pick their favorite albums, which is funny. I try to tell, don't pick your favorite album.
Yeah, I didn't pick my favorite.
Okay, good. People, a lot of times people pick their favorite album, but then like we're dissecting it, and then they be getting stressed out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you killing my favorite song right now and everything like that. So, but nah, yeah, you're gonna be on there. It's gonna be a lot of, we're gonna have mad fun.
It's one of my favorite albums, for sure. But like, there's other albums that I would say like, yo, now that's my favorite, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Coogee Rap and Wanted Dead or Alive is it's crazy. But there's some things on there. There's some joints on there. I'll be like, I mean, so we'll get into that on there.
Yeah, sure. We're gonna get into that. That's coming. And then just from the music side of things, man. Like I said, I got I'm working on this album, Fourth Disciple. That's early in the process, but we working. Me and Planet Asia started working on and1 Rap Shit, the follow-up project. So that's coming. Me and Sharp got an album that's getting ready to run. My next album with Deli Digger is getting ready to run, and literally the next project, literally dropping probably in August, I'm gonna start promoting it over the next couple of days. Really, is my next album with Czar, is produced by Tzarism. The whole album is called The Vivid Laser Eye Guy, and that's the next album fully produced by Tzarism. So yeah, as long as me and Czar been together, we've never done a whole album.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Czar on here too, man. Definitely gotta have Czar on here, man.
Yep, definitely get Czar on here for sure. Absolutely.
Well, yo, Midaz, thanks again for the show. I ask y'all out there, what are your words of worth? Peace.
Peace. Hey, thanks, bro. Big love.